Trump haters wake up mad every day. On a consistent basis, too. This is beyond mental illness. I honestly don't believe y'all give a... I think y'all pretending to give a because Trump's name is being said. But Maxwell already said he wasn't involved. Virginia already said he wasn't involved. But y'all disregarded them and continue to push lies. Even with these so-called text messages being dropped by the House Democrats, all of a sudden, after they shut the goddamn government down for 41 days, you read the documents and they don't say anything of importance. There was no mention of abuse, no mention of children, and it wasn't even messages between Epstein and Trump. It was messages between Epstein and Michael Wolff discussing how to handle a potential PR fallout if Trump was asked about his past times. So, and another reason I don't think though is because y'all was just fighting tooth and nail to get biological men in women's sports, in women's bathrooms, in women's spaces, locker rooms, was just advocating for that, putting biological women at risk. Yeah, I feel like y'all are real. Y'all just like the fake ass outrage that y'all project out into the world.
You won't believe what recently surfaced about Jasmine Crockett. Thus, think about the current political unrest as you watch this.
Now, and for a woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out of that primary, you are seeing a woman who's not spending an awful lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas or Houston or Laredo or Amarillo, right? She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous, and that she is sounding off however she wants.
Sure that the Department of Justice didn't have this information, and if they didn't have this information, do we know whether or not they actually deleted this information? Do we know that there was a thorough investigation? Do we know whether or not the investigation had concluded? These are all questions that we need answers to, but we can't get them when you're not cooperating. So we don't know what the DOJ has, nor what it is that the DOJ potentially was trying to do. Considering that the president right now is trying to obstruct on some very basics of let's just get a subpoena that says release all the information, I wouldn't be surprised, just like he obstructed the prosecution of one of his henchmen who took $50,000 in taxpayer dollars from undercover officers. I wouldn't be surprised if he sent a message and said, stop investigating. We're done with this. That I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I have no idea. No, that's the whole point. I have no information. And that's why we need these files to be released, because we are looking for transparency, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. Listen, if people decide that they want to continue to support a person who may be a pedophile or a person who obviously is covering for that's on them. But they should know at least the devil that they have decided to pick.
Listen, folks, at this point, you can tell that there is some type of psychotic spirit that has taken over.
The public has reacted sharply to her reportedly misleading statements, and many are now questioning whether she mishandled public funds. It's easy to imagine the frustration, especially with Crockett seeking a Senate seat, which means every move she makes is under intense observation. And while we appreciate everyone who follows along to stay informed on stories like this, the real focus here is the wave of reactions surrounding Jasmine Crockett, because when the accusations of wrongdoing emerged, people were genuinely stunned.
Democrat Jasmine Crockett gets called out on CNN for spreading lies.
Word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats rejected.
No. I understand, okay. But I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book.
The situation this time goes far beyond her statements and centers on what she's allegedly doing, with critics loudly questioning whether she's being inconsistent after taking such firm positions against others. It's like scolding someone for mistakes while possibly being tangled in your own troubles, and that's exactly why people are eager to unpack these claims, starting with accusations that she misused public funds for fancy personal trips across the country, something that has angered many who believe public servants should genuinely serve the public.
Absolutely don't expect that, especially when you start to say things like Pam Bondi said, she will follow the law, because the only thing that we have seen consistently out of this administration, whether we're talking about the failed prosecution of Comey, and I'm saying failed because that is absolutely what I anticipate is going to happen, we know that they are always doing the opposite of following the law. Every time we look at those court orders that they have ignored, they have literally put us in this constitutional crisis in this country, because for the first time we have another branch of government that seemingly thinks that what other branches have to say, well, you know what, that's advisory. It's not anything that they have to follow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I don't expect transparency.
The president said tonight he thinks it's going to end up being really embarrassing for Democrats. Are you worried that it's going to be embarrassing for
I'm not worried at all. I can tell you one thing. I ain't never worried about my name being in the Epstein files. So that's one thing that we can talk about. Number two, for me, it's not partisan. It's somebody that worked in the criminal justice system. I understand what it is to sit across from a victim. I understand their stories. I understand the trauma, and I understand the lasting effects.
Calls for honesty are growing, and Crockett is under increasing pressure to finally address the concerns, especially since her comments about gender-related care and sports for biological women stirred even more backlash, leading some to label her with hurtful names that question her judgment both personally and politically, adding to a sense that she's being reckless and untrustworthy. And with her aiming for a Senate seat, voters expect higher standards because they want leaders who understand their daily struggles, yet these allegations have people wondering whether she truly does, raising the bigger question of what her strategy really is.
Wrong is wrong, right is right. And I think that that is what we are missing in this administration. It seems like he consistently wants to give a pass so long as someone is a follower of his. That's what we saw with the January 6ers, that he decided that he was going to pardon. And then even after they got in trouble again, he decided to pardon them again. He seemingly only wants to go after people that he looks at as if they are opposition. We in this country, what justice looks like is going after whoever is wrong, no matter their race, no matter their political affiliation, and no matter how much money they do or don't have in the bank account.
So you're saying, yeah, you don't care even if it does embarrass Democrats.
I don't care. That's not what this is about. To me, it's not political. We need to make sure that we understand how it was that this was able to take place, and we need to make sure that we tear down those structures. We have an obligation as legislators to make sure that we do better by the people in this country. We need to make sure that there are no other children that end up in similar circumstances, whether Jeffrey Epstein is alive or dead. We need to make sure, because it wasn't just one man.
Whether she's strengthening her campaign or harming it, while critics argue she seems more interested in attention than real change, and supporters insist she's a rising voice being unfairly targeted by opponents trying to derail her work for underserved communities, seeing her as someone fighting in a world where power often overshadows fairness. One thing is certain, Crockett is a polarizing figure, and in the public's eyes, honesty and responsibility matter most. So as this chapter unfolds, what do you think her future in politics looks like? Has the situation already become too tangled, or can she still rebuild trust?